Hello, back again studying the 5,500-year-old Egyptian map of the planet from Tomb 100 at Hierakonpolis, Nechen. It's the oldest painted tomb in Egypt, and some people had actually recognized it as a map, although they thought that the land was water and the water was land, and they thought all these avatars are just people. But even just the fact that they realized it was a map spurred the Egyptian government to destroy the original. So now we just have these photos of the original. So yeah, this seems to be these three. I was thinking these were in the Cape Verde Islands, but now I'm thinking it's probably these. So these are in Guinea-Bissau in West Africa, just on the West African coast. And so it kind of makes sense that these would be like kneeling ones that are like basically kneeling along the coast. They're right like on the edge of the coast. And this I guess is their knee. This would be his knee. And so it would be probably quite stylized. I mean, this is not, there is a chance I'm wrong on this one, but I'm pretty sure this is it. And that, like, this shape here might be this island right there. And, like the fact that this one on the back has like, seems to have hair coming down, might reflect this part right here would be his hair. So anyway, it's not a super obvious one, but I think that this is what these are. And so yeah, like maybe this would be this guy's shoulder, and this here would be his head. Maybe that's why it's like a pointy chin there. I don't know where this guy's head would be. So yeah, this is a working theory at the least, but yeah, I think that this is it. This is painted just to the left of these guys and a bit up. So like that would make sense that it's a little bit to the left, i.e. the south of them, and it's up in terms of being west of them. So this one I showed before, but it's like Caravala. Its head is like this kind of shallow area here, this pointy area there is like his stump where his head used to be, I guess, and then this other guy has these horns, which are Porcos Island. And so yeah, these three would be kind of kneeling along the coast. These would be their knees. And so I think this one, his knees would either be here. I'm thinking this is his knees, and then this is this little island on top of his knees. And so yeah, his knee would be here, and this would be a kind of indent, and then this would be like his elbow sticking out, his front elbow. And so yeah, it seems to be that it's quite stylized, but this is what I think that is. So it's kind of like a great entrance into West Africa, because there's like a bunch of estuaries of big rivers. One huge river, I'm not sure what it's called. maybe the Gambia or something. So then this one, you know, I had thought that first I had thought that these boats were representing just celestial phenomena. But once I realized that the boats actually, the things on the boats are actually land also. And this is the only boat that has a figure like this. So I went to find if there's anything he could be. So it seems to me that he's Taiwan and his scythe is Penghu. You know, based on where he's situated, he's like the southern end of the boat that contains like I don't know, that's in kind of the Japan area, like the northern part of the boat is towards like Japan and Korea and stuff. But this is the southern part of the boat. So the only thing that's here, and also there is no other avatar for Taiwan here, whereas Taiwan, you know, and Taiwan would have an avatar because it's a big island compared to some of the ones that are depicted. So this is the only thing in the area that could be his depiction. And then behind him, this is his oar, which again, this is the only boat of all the boats that has an oar like this. So I'm pretty sure that's Hainan Island. And, you know, to some extent, this might represent Leizhou Peninsula, but it could also be purely symbolic, just like this one here seems to be a purely symbolic, you know, staff. But then the blade is real, like, so, you know, because Penghu is like this pointy archipelago just like immediately, you know, west of Taiwan. And so, you know, like it's not some facsimile or anything, but it seems that his butt he has a very square butt compared to anybody else on this map. So I'm pretty sure that's this part right here. And, you know, beyond that, I think it's very stylized, you know, like I don't really see, I'm not sure just exactly what would be his face, probably something up here. That might be his nose right there, or it could be that. So yeah, something of that nature. This would be like his shoulder, and this might be his arm. Maybe these are like his two hands holding Penghu. But so so yeah, got that. Pretty sure about that. Because, you know, it's focused on things sailors need to know. So if a sailor is sailing around Taiwan, I mean, the main reason you need to know about Taiwan, especially, is because it's near mainland China. So if you're sailing along the coast, which is a normal way to sail, you need to know what's right along the coast, or else you know, run aground and die or whatever. So you need to know Taiwan is here, and then you also especially need to know Penghu is here right next to Taiwan. So it makes sense why they would depict it that way, since, you know, Penghu is his knife or his blade, since that's kind of the business end that creates the real narrow strait. So yeah, glad to finally find an avatar for Penghu, because in the later maps they don't seem to have it. This is one that I might have shown already, but I'm now like questioning it. Well, I don't even know if I did show it. Maybe not. But like I was thinking this was this guy because his face is, you know, his head shape and stuff is fairly similar. And also there's this kind of island right here, or sandbars or something that seem to be his horns. And so I don't know if I'm completely ruling it out, but I'm mostly ruling it out because I think that, you know, that this is actually what I originally was thinking, which is Jamaica, just a very stylized Jamaica, and that this is another avatar. So the Red Hand of Ulster. Let's see, I found somewhere online where it was saying this part of Ulster that has the red hand is has a lot of exposed red sandstone. So it could be that that's the reason there's this kind of reddish brown color on both sides of the channel, you know, in Argyll and Antrim, is because they're that type of red sandstone. And so yeah, like here it has the same reddish on his bloody stump or whatever of the giant Britain, and then the same kind of reddish color that's on the opposite shore where his hand is, or the mark from his hand, and a bit on here and around there. So yeah, I'm guessing it's that. I'm guessing it's the red sandstone. Let's see. This one is, you know, this is South America, this is Central America, this is Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico, you know, it is right next to the Virgin Islands, and so yeah, sorry, I forget which Virgin Islands, if this is the US or British Virgin Islands. I think one of them is down here, so it's not that, but it's whichever of these Virgin Islands up here. And then there's especially one that is right there that's basically seems to be the head of this bird. You know, I think this body is this, and you know, I'm guessing his tail is here, and then somehow this is like his leg or something. I mean, it's not, the shape of the body is pretty awkward, but I think, pretty sure that's what he is based on where he's situated, that he's that bird. And then, because yeah, this is Central America, this is South America in the map, and so this I want to call him a cow, but I don't know what this is. It has horns like that. Anyway, this animal, yeah, I don't know if that's a cow or a bull or what. Because I guess, do cows have horns? I don't know. Not an animal expert. So if she's a cow or he's a bull or whatever. But anyway, I think these are their hooves. These are at least their bottom hooves, and maybe some combination. And it seems that it could be even that their horns that poke through the land right there are these two. Well, it looks to me like there's two lakes here. So it could be that like this part of the land that pokes out here is the land here that goes to there. And then this angular part that sticks out right here is like this animal's butt or whatever that's like angular there. And then it goes out to the hoof. And then between them is anyway, this is a big like inland sea here. I'm not sure what it's called. And then this is a huge gulf there. This is Venezuela. I don't know. I guess this is Colombia and this is Venezuela. I'm not sure the exact borders. But yeah, I'm pretty sure about that because there's no huge island in this area like this. So he has to be part of the mainland, or this, one has to be part of the mainland. So I'm pretty certain that these are their hoofs, and not sure all the rest, how specific the rest is in here, or if there's a bunch of things to be identified or not. If so, it'd probably be especially around this inland sea. So yeah, that's that stuff. And this is a bird that's right next to there, just kind of southeast of there. And its head is attached to a part of the mainland of South America that sticks out. So this, I probably actually should have shown a bigger photo, but this right here is part of the mainland that does stick out. It's a weird peninsula in South America. And then this is Trinidad and Tobago, I believe. So this would be the tail, and this would be like the, it's like very stylized, of course, but I guess like this part, I think, would be this round part, and so this whole tail part is just shrunk down to be more like a real animal. And then down here, I mean, it kind of seems like, it does come down to kind of a point there. So that could either be these 2 points or this in some kind of shape here. And then, it sticks out before the neck. Like, so this definitely does stick out. And then the neck goes up. And then some kind of ear or something thing behind it, and then it basically merges into or is immediately adjacent to the South American coast, which is this peninsula. So yeah, pretty stylized, but there you go. Trinidad and Tobago. It's really teaching me about like the actual shape of things, because I didn't realize like how big that island was. Pretty huge. These really are the defining features of the geography. Let's see. So this is, it's in the region of Japan. So Japan here. 1, 2, 3, 4, like the 4 main islands of Japan, and with a line only connecting these 3, since they're the ones that are really all interconnected the most, and then a break between these 2, since that's like there's a little wider strait there. But on the let's see. Oh yeah, and on this one, I wasn't sure. Like, it seemed like they bungled this because it seemed like he should have 2 big back legs or something. But it could be that these 4 peninsulas here, these 4 kind of legs here, almost are supposed to be like this, and maybe some kind of like contours in this bay that are seen as like peninsular, like there, maybe a little bit of a bump there that is all just counted as these 4 things. Oh, and that this guy, you know, he's the one that has the only one that has a front arm that really sticks out a lot. This guy has a little front arm, but not much. And then this guy's front arm sticks back, which is, I think, this thing. But this one's front arm sticks forward further, so I think that's this part here near the Kuril Islands. And so anyway, that's in that area, there's this boat. And I had first thought it's just Isis and Nephthys. And it's still, you know, it still could be connected to them. In which case this would be Isis and this would be Nephthys. And this would be Ma'at. Basically, this would be Venus rising, this would be Venus setting, and this would be just Venus in between or something. Or it could just all be completely terrestrial. But I think they represent that there's this chain of islands from Korea to Kamchatka, Siberia, that just, you know, block that area off from the greater Pacific. And so at one end of this whole island chain is Tsushima, which is right between Japan and Korea, and Iki, which is also right near it, between Japan and Korea. And then you know, Shumshu and Paramushir, which are immediately adjacent to Kamchatka Peninsula and form the kind of northeasternmost Kuril Islands. So there's this kind of unending like chain of small and large islands. I mean, technically from Taiwan or even further south, like all the way to Kamchatka Peninsula, and then technically all the way from Kamchatka Peninsula, there's a line of islands to Alaska. But this is focusing on the ones between Siberia and Korea. So these are like, you know, kind of the guardians of this whole area. And so yeah, it seems that Iki is her head and Tsushima is her body. And so, you know, she's kind of thick or whatever. And, you know, kind of gently slopes to this side. So, yeah. And then this one, Paramushir. I mean, I should reconfigure this so that it's more recognizable. But basically, I mean, like this seems to be her butt, and this is like her legs. This is her front leg, and then it doesn't really show this shape as much, but at least it kind of shows maybe this front shoulder, and then back shoulder a bit, kind of an arched back that goes back there. But the head, you know, is tilted around, so this is her nose is up here, and then, you know, her nose like goes back, and then she has like a kind of like a weird flat top hairdo or something right there. So that's like this part here where it goes back, and then there's kind of like a elevated plateau just for that little part, and then it goes down around, and you know, the bottom part kind of is straight and then tapers up a little bit, and that's the mouth, and then this is the nose. So yeah, to see it properly, I had to, you know, copy paste it from a different angle, which is common with these, just like I had to do with this one. But I just left it as this for this comparison, just to show that it really is immediately there. It's just tilted. So yeah, then it's a question of what are all the other things in here. We know what these are, that these are Japan, but the rest of this is pretty iffy. So yeah. And Japan is kind of weirdly situated, but that's not uncommon on these maps. What the F? I don't know what just happened. So this is one I'm kind of toying with that's not really sure. You know, like this one, this avatar I had been looking for on the other side of the Atlantic because it's not, you know, some of the ones that are painted kind of in the Atlantic, it's hard to know which side of the ocean they are. Like there's not a huge indication between the ones that are on the, you know, in Africa or Europe and the ones that are in like the Caribbean or the Caribbean area. So this one, I'm definitely leaning towards this, especially for this guy, that this is, because there was some that looked like it could be him on the, like in the Canary Islands and thereabouts, but they all had to be flipped to match, like, because most all the avatars in here were retrograde, like the overall map. The only ones that are prograde are seemingly Hispaniola and Pico Island in the Azores, and those are for specific reasons because they're kind of interacting with the islands around them. So, you know, that could be the case with this because these are certainly two avatars interacting. So it could be one of the other ones from the Canaries that are flipped. But in many ways, this matches better. You know, this matches for this part that he's like hanging from, that, you know, this would be like basically he's, you know, this guy is a hunter. He bagged a deer or whatever this is, hanging it up, and he's like skinning it. So, you know, a lot of these avatars deal with like this type of thing, like hunting and skinning and tanning hides and stuff, which matches with a lot of the ancient stories of the underworld, where it's like as you enter the underworld, you're supposed to like sacrifice a goat or something like that. So it could somehow relate to some of these avatars. But you know, he's like this indent here could be his horn, could be, you know, what's meant by those horns. And you know, but it's also unclear how much of him is him, because it could be that basically this part from here over is mostly relatively, you know, solid. You know, certainly this is not solid, this is water. So it could be that this guy is, and I'm kind of leaning towards this, that this guy is actually just this part here and not this. But it's kind of hard to know. And yeah, that this whole, all these kind of chains of little islets or whatever these are around here would be this part that he's hanging from. Maybe this shape right here would be like right around here where it goes like that. And then this guy is, you know, there's kind of an inland sea or lake or whatever right there. So that would be like between his legs. And this island here could be his head. But it's really hard to know about all this. I'm actually leaning towards that maybe his head is between here and this is one arm because there's water right here. So that could delineate his bottom arm. There's some water up here which could delineate like his top arm, and his head could be in here. You know, it could be this, or it could be something in the mainlands, between the mainland and this other kind of sandbar along it, or a bit of island along it. And then, but it matches pretty well for like the feet, certainly, you know, like the feet, there's like the bottom foot, and then it goes up, and then this front foot here, and then a knee somewhere around here. And then this thing here, this dark blue weird part that comes up, like these seamounts, might be this, you know, weird S thing that people like to draw in school or whatever. Because there is a somewhat of a S shape there, certainly on the top. So this is what I'm leaning towards, but it's not super obvious. There's also a chance that his arms are this other nearby couple of islands, or few islands, that are kind of between this and that somewhat. So hard to know, but I'll keep cracking away at it and try to get a better understanding of it. All right, thank you much. Have a good one. I think we'll end.